to another episode of Divorcee Diaries. I'm Jacqueline Bell, and I'm so excited to talk to all of you today about Buenos Aires, Argentina. Buenos Aires, Argentina. All right, everyone, if you're just joining my channel, I'm Jacqueline Bell, and I am a businesswoman. I'm a project manager. I am an entrepreneur. I'm a solo traveler, and I'm here to share all of my wisdom with all of you. And I'm especially excited today about Buenos Aires because it is one of my favorite places that I visited in my worldwide journey through Latin America. Buenos Aires just took my breath away. So let's get into it. All right, so I'm going to change up the background on you for a little bit. This is actually my gym in my spare bedroom. So again, back to Buenos Aires. So when you fly into Buenos Aires, you're gonna wanna fly into EZE, which is the largest international airport, about 30 minutes outside of the city. Or if you're fortunate enough to fly into Newberry, you'll wanna fly into Newberry, which is right in Palermo. So it's actually really close. You kind of get dropped right into the city, and it's really easy to get in and out of the city. So that's just so you know, both those airports will treat you good and get you to Buenos Aires. Secondly, about transportation. Transportation in Buenos Aires, again, taxis and Ubers are great, but I will let you know that what's even better than Uber down in Buenos Aires is Cabify. And Cabify is basically another Uber, except it's better. It's faster, in my opinion, and the interface is more preferred in my humble opinion about that. So as far as transportation, Cabify was my preferred method of transportation. Again, it's like an Uber, but in Buenos Aires. Another thing that you want to know about Buenos Aires is that they use the Argentinian pesos. So quick note about the Argentinian peso. It's very hard about money, about currency in general, and how to get Argentinian pesos for yourself. Because in Argentina, if you're able to have pesos, or even actually if you're able to bring your dollars, if you're able to bring dollars and you're better than me and you're able to bring US dollars, it'll actually go a lot further than the Argentinian peso. And there's a whole history of that. I can probably include a link for you in the show notes below about the history of why US dollars will get you so much further when you visit Buenos Aires, but it will get you further. So try to bring your US dollars, but if you are not able to, then what you can also do is get some pesos, or I guess US dollars too. I haven't tried it, but I was able to get some Argentinian pesos from Remitly. So Remitly is a site that's kind of like a Western Union, and you go into Remitly, you make your account, and then you send money to yourself. And that worked out really, really well for me because the ATMs in Argentina, or specifically in Buenos Aires, do not usually take US debit cards. And furthermore, in the restaurants, they really don't take US ATMs all the time, or US, they usually don't take US credit cards or debit cards. So that's something to note, because I found myself having to be very particular, very selective about where I wanted to eat, because not everywhere took the American credit card. So now you know. As far as lodging is concerned, I stayed in Palermo, Hollywood. I would highly recommend Palermo, Hollywood. It was very safe, very nice, lots of eateries, lots of shopping, lots of things to do, which was great. And Recoleta is also really, really great. So I'd also recommend that. Palermo, Soho has also been heard of as a really nice area. I loved going there, honestly. I thought it was great art, great food as well, great places to go and eat and meet people, lots of folks walking around. So Palermo, Hollywood's where I stayed, but I would also recommend Palermo, Soho, and Recoleta. But that also informs my safety rating for Buenos Aires, because you know that I always have to provide a safety rating for everywhere I go. So for Buenos Aires, I give the safety rating a 4. I was in Palermo, Hollywood, and it was honestly really okay with me. And I honestly didn't find any issues, even when I was walking around by myself. Granted, I didn't walk around by myself too often, but you know, the people I met after going, outside of Buenos Aires even, they were all sweet and kind. So I didn't have a problem. I would just say, keep your belongings close to you. All right, so the activities that I did, I have a whole bunch, so let me just bring it all together. So I did a food and culture tour of Buenos Aires. I'll leave all of what I'm recommending to you in the show notes below. I could not recommend it more. It was so great, and it's a great way to experience the food and to see the sights and to get the history and culture of not only food, but the shops behind the food. If you're I hope you're a big meat eater. If not, it's okay because they can accommodate vegetarian, vegan orders as well, so that was really nice. But on this food tour I got to do food and wine, as you all know, or maybe you do, maybe you don't, but Buenos Aires or Argentina is known for their Malbecs. There's lots of great wines that we're able to taste, lots of great empanadas, great meat, of course, that's very important to them. Another thing to note, everywhere in restaurants they primarily drink like sparkling water. It's like set at your table sometimes, and it's not still, it's just sparkling, which is interesting. So I would highly recommend the food tour. So good. I also did an Airbnb rooftop barbecue that I highly recommend. It was so delicious. I loved it. I met some great people from all over the world and still have them as friends on social media and still connect with them. So I would highly recommend this amazing rooftop barbecue. It's like the best rated event on Airbnb, at least at the time, and the person who cooks for you is amazing. He's like, I just want to cook for all of you. You ask me questions about what you want, I'll tell you what you're gonna eat. And that's what we did, and we just broke bread and had a wonderful time eating dinner and having a homemade barbecue and homemade meal by this wonderful individual. So highly recommend that. Oh, so you know what I did that was really exciting? I did a personal photo shoot. It was early in the morning, but it was so worth it. I remember thinking, I'm so tired, I don't know if I can do this. And then I did it and I was like, this is the best thing ever. So, and it's actually some of the best videos that I got, because this is my solo travel journey, that predicament that I usually have, which is I don't always get great pictures because it's hard to take pictures of yourself. They're all selfies all the time, so it's usually get selfies, and then if you ask people to take it, you know, sometimes it's a great picture, sometimes it's not. So it's something that I find a little difficult. But in Buenos Aires, I just saw this opportunity again on Airbnb experiences, y'all. It's just fantastic. So I found it on Airbnb. I absolutely loved it, and I had some great pictures, as you can see here, that came from it. So I highly recommend doing a professional photo shoot in Buenos Aires, especially in Recoleta, because the backgrounds, the statues, the buildings are all so beautiful. Highly recommend it. And what I also did is I did go into the famous cemetery, the over the ground cemetery. It's very interesting. It's like a little city in and of itself, and it's in Recoleta. I went in, y'all. I stepped in and then I stepped out. I'll be honest, I do not like messing with spiritual things like the dead, and like cemeteries just freak me out. I was by myself at the time. They do have free tours, but these tours are in Spanish, and I'm not fluent in Spanish, so I didn't go, even though I really wanted to go with other people. And then some of the English speaking classes were just during the same time as I worked, so it didn't quite work out. But overall, I think it would be really cool. It definitely looked really cool, but that's about all I did there. But I do recommend going because it's just really cool to see. I also went on a speedboat excursion on Airbnb, right? A speedboat excursion in Tigre, which is just north of Buenos Aires. Easily could get there with Cabify or Uber, and that's what I did. I actually even left my wallet at home when I was going up there, and I was so freaked out that I wouldn't be able to pay for, to get home or anything. But when you have Uber or you have a cell phone that has, data, you're most likely just fine. And I was able to get home just fine, and I made friends and we had lunch. It was wonderful. It was great. I was able to Venmo them for lunch, so it worked out really well, I must say. But what was great about the speedboat excursion was that we were able to also go to the owner and his wife, who came with us, to their island home through the delta. The delta is there, there's like rivers where people just live on the rivers. They live along the rivers in these nature-made islands, and people just live there, and they have their own community that is along the river, and there's a weekly boat pickup for garbage. There's a daily boat grocery store. It's just really cool, and I had a great time learning about the Delta and Tigre in general, and being able to experience one of the islands there that they had a home at. It's a lot of wetland, so it was very wet when we were there, but it was so worth it. And you got to meet great people. Argentinians are wonderful. I would just say it's fantastic. So I would highly recommend that activity as well. You know, an activity that I didn't get to do, but I highly recommend doing it is if you're in Buenos Aires and you have more time than I do, or you saw this video and are gonna go, please do look into spending a few days or a couple days, or at least going for a day to Uruguay. So I found out that you could go to Buenos Aires on a ferry boat to Uruguay and do that all in the same day. And I had no idea, and had I known that earlier in my journeys, I definitely would have traveled there and been there to add at least one more country on my list in Latin America, but I wasn't able to make it work this time. So if you're going to Buenos Aires, if you're going to be there in Argentina, please do consider going to Uruguay, because it's right there. You're so close. You might as well just take a ferry boat and stay there for a day and say you did it. Okay, so I just want to quickly go over, as I always do, my challenges, but also what I loved about Buenos Aires. So for my challenges, I would say in Buenos Aires, that was my 5th stop on my Latin American tour, my 3rd country, and the 5-hour time difference back then, because we had fallen back, we were still, it was 5-hour difference back then, it's 4 hours now with the spring forward. But it was pretty hard to balance working, because I do have a full-time job. I'm working as well as going and doing things outside. It was a bit of a challenge. Also, their Spanish is a little bit different. So, so for example, llevar means to take away. So you use llevar for food. If you want to take something like llevar. Apparently it's llevar down there. If there's any other Argentinians on this video and you want to correct me, please let me know, because that's what I was told. It's very interesting. But overall, there weren't that many challenges. I honestly loved, let me just go into what I loved about Buenos Aires. Buenos Aires is how I describe it, is a European city, because architecture is very European. It's beautiful. If you love Europe like I do, you're gonna love Buenos Aires. It's a European city with Latin flavor, and I must say that's pretty. It's a cool place to be. They love food. They love relaxing. I loved every time I ate out, because I just felt at home and at peace, and it was really, really good. So that's one thing that I love about Buenos Aires. Is the ambiance, also the food. The food is just spectacular. And I cannot say how much I love Buenos Aires. It was absolutely wonderful. It wasn't my favorite. My favorite city in Latin America you will find next week in next week's video. So hopefully this helped a lot of you, or all of you, get to know Buenos Aires a little bit more. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and if you were able to stay till the very end of this video, please put Argentina in the comments below so that I know that you made it. It'd be so nice of you to do that. Thank you very much, and I hope you'll join me next week for another episode of the Divorcee Diaries. All right, take care. Bye.